about 40 minutes. I came back and I reviewed it the next day,
With the
that
head.
audio. And what I
See if we can
experienced
get it.
was that I did pick up an EVP, or electric voice phenomenon, and it was a phenomenon that lasted probably about 27 seconds. It was decently a long little recording. And what it sounded like was as if a kid, if a girl was calling words, playing school. And it was just name after name after name, and they were all female names. There were no male names whatsoever. I actually tried to research these names, see if I could connect them to the house or to the property owners. I wasn't able to do that. And so what I think is that this was a residual
It's not
haunt
there
of
anymore.
kids that once had a good time playing school here, just repeating for us, and then later this. Now, we also experienced that same night a very haunting photograph that we took. And that photo was taken just kind of in this right-hand window right over here. And I took 3 photos from the exact same location, one right after the other. First 2 photos are dark, just kind of what you'd expect when you take a photo in the dark. But the third photo here, the third photo, you could very clearly see a shadow of a human in it. And it looked like this shadow of a human had a wide-brimmed hat on, like a cowboy hat on, or a farmer's hat on. You could also see a chin. You could see a neckline, shoulders. You could see a waist, but you didn't see any legs. You didn't see any feet. They just kind of blacked out. That was completely missing. But where eyes would have been, you saw these yellow orbs of light that just kind of stared back at me. And it was really a disturbing, haunting image. And I thought this is kind of a cool image to share on our social media. So I posted on Facebook and Instagram. And I clearly remember getting comments and interacting with folks about it. Steven also has that memory in his head. But about 3 years ago, I had a little boy doing this tour, and he's like, "Can I see that photo? That sounds awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, man. Let me show you." And I try to go find it, and I cannot find it on our Facebook. I cannot find it on our Instagram. It's as if it was just completely deleted. Since then, we have scoured SD cards, old cameras, anything that we possibly think that could have been on, and we have not been able to locate that photo ever since. So it's a little bit mysterious to us to this day. Any questions?
So when the flood happened, did that knock off the angel's head, or?
No, actually, that's more recent.
Oh.
They had to move some stuff because they were doing they laid new grass over here, and when they laid new grass and they moved these over here, it broke, and so it
Oh.
was more just a clumsy mistake.
I was wondering the
Yeah.
same thing. That was
Yeah, so they had a little faux cemetery to some of the people who died on the property, just kind of honoring their spirit here. But in the process of kind of getting new grass and renovations, they haven't restored that little area yet. So they probably will at some point. Good questions. Any others? No?
what
Yeah.
is the tree?
This tree. So what's with it? So Phil, he's Joanne's partner, and he loves to collect old bones. He often will like anybody that has a bone or like has a hunt and they have extras, he will end up drawing them out and saving them. And so he has created several of these bone trees. And there used to be another one over here, but over time it collapsed. It rotted out and crashed. But that's just kind of a form of art that he does. Is he does these bone trees. And they're usually all with real bones, having either hunted or found in the area. Yeah. All right, let's go on to our next stop. We have one more.
Let's take a look at the headphones. So all of these are from people who actually supposedly died here. Sebastian, Faye Marks, Fred Kelly, Eleanor Kelly, and then those ones are upside down. Watch out.
Can you pass me a water bottle?
Fine.
Got it.
So we're probably gonna go to that milking barn now.
That what?
The milking barn, the one way in the back.
Oh yeah, the one at the exit and one going.
Yeah. It does. It feels weird.
Alright, if you're here, everybody. So beauty in one shot. Tony Serra
Oh.
so inside, we had such a spirit fest May 17th. That weekend, she was inside the vault. And so we walked into the front door. Alright, feel free to get as close as you'd like. I want to keep us over here in the shade, but we're going to be talking about this particular structure behind me. Now, this structure behind me is called the carriage house. And of course, it would have been around during the time that the Mahler family was here with the dairy farm. This was before the invention of the automobile, so they would have needed horse and carriage to transport the milk and cream to San Antonio. But of course, it's been many different things throughout the years. It's been storage, living spaces, but primarily more recently, it has been different types of retail. And we've had different shop owners share different experiences that they've had with us over the years. Footsteps up and down the staircase inside, a lot of small things being kind of rummaged through. A kind of common phenomenon through multiple people has been that the shop owners will come, they'll leave their bags down, put their stuff up, and then kind of set up the shop and come back to the bag. And when they come back to the bag, it's like things are out of place. Like lipsticks with the cap off, nothing's ever stolen, but it's almost as if like there's a playful kind of experience going on. And so we attribute all of this to the spirit of a young girl. And her name is Sophie Mahler, and she would have been one of the Mahler children. But what's interesting about Sophie is that she actually in her lifetime lives into her 80s. And for whatever reason, she presents herself as what seems to be an 8-year-old girl with a blue dress and a bonnet in her hair. And she presents herself a little bit more often to men. So it's kind of interesting to think about. What happens to us after we die? Do we come back and visit the places that we love in the age in which we passed? Or perhaps we come back at the age in which we're our most valuable. So maybe that's why she chooses to come back as a child spirit. But she is known to be rather mischievous, very playful, and even a little bit flirtatious with men as well. So a little bit kind of awkward there. Now, there's one final story I want to share with you guys, and it's a little bit of a funny story. And this is connected to the upstairs loft of the carriage house. And back in 1998, when the flood happened, there was some huge devastation in the area. We had Red Cross and FEMA, all sorts of people coming and rebuilding. And Joanne Rivera, she was gracious enough to let a few of these folks stay in the upstairs loft. And they were having drinks around, a table one evening, playing cards, having a good time. And as they're doing this, one of the gentlemen says, "I think I'm getting a wedgie." And everybody just is very confused. It's a very strange thing to say. But a few moments later, supposedly all 3 other gentlemen who were there, they start feeling like they're being pulled up by their underwear. And supposedly they all get pulled up about an inch from their chair and then put back down. Needless to say, that was probably the last night that they stayed here. They did not come back. They did not want to stay here anymore. It's very interesting to think about spirit activity. We've talked a lot of different types of activity today, residual, maybe echoes of the past. We've talked about intelligent responses, and a lot of times playful responses as well. And so we think that spirit activity can look like anything, really. And the activity here at Victoria's Black Swan Inn is rather interesting. But we want to thank you all for joining us on this tour today. Fred and I are huge nerds, and we love the history of our city and Central Texas, and we hope that you enjoyed sharing that today. We think that our job is to make the paranormal a little bit more normal for people, so thank you for helping us do that today. We'll stick around if y'all have any questions or anything. Other than that, you are welcome to enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the property, enjoy the market. Talk to the shop owners because they all have their own stories to share as well.
Thank you.